Hey everyone, welcome to Debugging Technologies. In this video, we will be starting with implementing the projects that are part of Upwork. And one of the projects that I found is they would like to debug Microsoft Teams bot, and we'll just implement that. So in this video, we'll be debugging Microsoft Teams bot, see what are the best practices and how you can debug after deploying to Azure as well. So we'll be following each and every approach. In the Upwork, the job post was mostly debugging on the emulator, but Microsoft Teams bot is mostly suited if directly debugged on the Microsoft Teams itself. So we'll be making use of Ngrok for that purpose. So let's get started. I have created a CoreBot project and I have given the name as Debugging Teams bot. Let me quickly run this up. Okay, a bot is ready. Let's quickly test this on bot framework emulator. This is just for testing if our bot is running fine. Okay, so this seems to be fine. Perfect. In order for us to test this bot on Microsoft Teams, we'll need to set up Ngrok. Downloading Ngrok, let me quickly show you, and then after that, you just need to authenticate using your access token. So sign in or sign up on the Ngrok. After you sign in or sign up on Ngrok, based on your operating system, you will have to download the zip file. Let's say I'm on Windows. I'll be downloading this zip file, extract it, and then run the Ngrok from the command line. So for the first time users, you need to authenticate using this access token, similar to this one. So let me go to my Ngrok. So after I have extracted it, so this is the file. So I'll be running my command line from this path. And in order for you to verify if your Ngrok is at this correct path, you can also put that into Windows path as well. So you just type Ngrok. And yeah, if you see similar messages, then yes, you are on the correct path. So for this purpose, in order for me to run my project and expose it to the open internet using the Ngrok, what I'm going to do, Ngrok HTTP host header equals to localhost 3978. So this port number is the one where your project is running on. Sometimes it can be 3979, sometimes it can be 3980, but depending on the port number that your project is running on, just enter it here. After that, just hit enter. And I've got this URL. I'll go to Azure. For debugging the bot locally on your development environment, we'll see the debugging after deployment later, but before that, we'll be debugging locally. So either debugging locally or during the production environment, you need Azure bot service. Also, for debugging the bot locally or during the production environment, you would also need app ID, app password, app type, and tenant ID. Tenant ID is required if it is a single tenant bot. For multi-tenant bot, it is not required. So let's wait for this to get created, and we have some issues here. Ajax extended call fails. That's strange. A resource is created. Let's go to the configuration of this. So let's open the Ngrok command line, copy the URL, go to messaging endpoint, write /API/messages, apply. So let me copy the Microsoft app ID, go to app settings.json, copy the bot type, manage password. Let's create a new Microsoft app password. For multi-tenant bots, app tenant ID will be blank. Okay. So far so good. For testing this on Microsoft Teams, we also need to connect the Azure bot to Microsoft Teams channel. I'll show you the proper way of testing. Well, there are shortcuts as well. Well, you might find it easy to go with. For example, if you go to channels and you can directly open this in Teams. So I'll not use that method. I'll use the proper method using the manifest, where you upload the manifest to Microsoft Teams and then interact with the bot. So this way, you will also be able to debug the installation and uninstallation part of the bot. So that is important. So if you want to perform some actions when the bot is installed for the first time for a user or in a channel or in a meeting, so what actions you want to perform, if you want to debug that, then it's recommended you start using manifest. Otherwise, if you directly open in Teams, you'll have very limited functionality. You'll not have option for uninstalling and installing it again. So for that purpose, I'll be getting the manifest, sample manifest from Teams app samples. So I'm on the GitHub repository for Microsoft Teams samples. I'll go to samples and I'll pick up the bot conversation all. Yeah, I think this is the one. Bot conversation. There was one more, conversation all. I think they changed the name, but that's fine. Let's pick up this one, C sharp. And here, no, not this one. I'll just use, yeah, this is the one I'll use. Okay, so let me copy its content, go here, create a new folder, Teams app manifest. The best practice would be to keep each of your manifest. For example, if you're developing, then just create a dev folder. For UAT, create a UAT. For prod, create a prod folder. And inside each one of them, you just create the file. Let's say manifest.json. Okay. And I would also need I would also need these two files. Let me get it from my local projects. I might have some of them. I have got the icon color and icon outline. And let's go to manifest and let's modify this one. So I would need app ID and replace this one. All right. So let me change few things here. The one that I would like to change is remove command list. We don't need web application info. We don't need. This is mostly for SSO, single sign-on purpose, and authorization also we don't need. All right. So yes, that's good. We have our manifest ready. Let me change its name. Debugging bot. I'm just going to keep the same name as the description as well. And scopes, I'm going to install this on all the three places: personal, individual chat, group chat, and Microsoft Teams channel. And this is not a notification bot, so it's false, and I'll not be supporting files. All right, so let's go to the folder, zip it, right click, compress to zip file, copy the path, go to Microsoft Teams, go to apps, upload an app, customized, and manifest. Before doing that, I'll need to make sure that my project is running locally. And also, when I would be installing the bot for the first time, I'll see some activities here, some requests coming in from the channel. And I'll also show you what requests are those, just for you to see what all JSON requests that are coming from your Azure bot service through the channel to your source code. All right, so let's see. Let me go ahead and add the bot. So the first will be the conversation update activity, and I'll open the bot. I'll open the Ngrok. Here you can see two requests are coming. The one of them would be a conversation update activity, and another one would be installation update activity. All right. So in order to confirm those two, I'll also show you. So you just need to go to localhost 4040. This is where your Ngrok is running. And here you can see the requests. So I'll pick up the first one. So this one is conversation update, and you can see the whole payload that is being sent from the channel, or you can say from the Azure bot to your Visual Studio project. And the second will be installation update. Type. Yes, here it is. Installation update. Okay. So if I send some messages, then it will be a message activity. The type will be message. Let me show you that. So where would you like to travel to? Mumbai. Okay. And if I open the Ngrok, if I open this, Mumbai, type is message. You can see the text as well, like what text has been sent from the user. Yeah. And you can also see all the other details as well, like from what user it is coming from. This lets you verify certain things. For example, let's suppose you want to perform some action when user installs the bot for the first time. So you'll be doing that on the installation update activity. For the installation update activity, there are two actions. One is add, one is remove. When bot is uninstalled, it will be remove. When bot is installed, it will be add action. The type will be same, but the action will be different for installation and uninstallation. And here you can see this is my AD object ID and this is my conversation ID. No, sorry, this is my user ID. This is my conversation ID. Conversation ID remains same for the duration of the conversation unless it is reinstalled, unless the bot is reinstalled. Here you can see a tenant ID from what tenant time this conversation is coming from. And this is the recipient who is a bot. So me as a user is sending some message to the bot. Basically, it's coming from me as a user. And if at all there's some extra payload channel data, well, for Microsoft Teams, there are very small details here. But for other channels like Telegram, then this is the very important payload channel data. And for direct line also, this is very important if you want to send some huge amount of data. And other things that you want to capture is the locale of the user. If you're building a multilingual bot, then you might have to capture the locale. And service URL is also important for proactive notifications. And what else? I think this is all. Now coming to the message activity. For message activity, all the payload details are same except for what is the text that you're sending as a user, and you get a name. I think this is also same for other payload as well. All right, so far so good. So now let's see how we can debug this. So we are able to receive the payload information from the channel to our bot. Now let's see. What I am going to do, I'm going to create an exception, basically throw an exception, and I'll throw that exception here somewhere. Origin, travel date. So let's throw the exception here. Yeah, throw, let's say argument, null reference exception. Let's say generic exception. What is the issue here? Oh, okay, it's not been found using system. That's why I was not getting. So argument null exception with a message, let's say booking details not found. Well, I'm just creating a random exception with a message. Okay. For when this is executed, this will not be executed. So that's absolutely fine. For the best practice, let me put this in try catch so that it is good. So that I follow the best practices. So let's say throw new argument ex create a logical exception. Let's see if Copilot can do that. No, not this one. During my training period, there was one. Uh, yeah, var no int a yeah, int I equal to 0, int j equal, yeah, this was 1 divided by 0. Yeah, so this will create an exception for me. Yeah, all right. So in that case, since I'm creating a good exception, then I just need to throw the same exception. Okay, and with a message. And after this exception is thrown from here, basically I'm not handling it, I'm throwing it, and it will be cached here. Adapter with error handler. At this place, it will be cached. So you might want to modify these things in order to see the actual error messages. So logger dot log error, this is very important statement. And if you want to see the messages directly on the chat window, then this is a place you might want to make changes to. So I'll just remove this part. So I'll remove this message as well. And here I'll just write exception dot message. Okay. So my exception messages will be shown on the chat window. Okay. So let's run this one. This for the development environment. It's good practice that all the exceptions that are thrown, you can able to see it on the chat window. If you do not prefer chat window, then also it will be shown on the output window here. So if you come to output window, click on your ASP.NET Core Web Server. Here also you can see the exception. That is, this logger messages will be shown up here. You will see that. Let me say hi to the bot. Okay, requests are coming in. Okay, there is an error at the start itself. Let's see what's the error. Here also you can see. Let me increase the size of the window. I doubt I can increase it. But let's see what's the error. Well, this is not the one that I was expecting, but let's see what is the error. So the error is an unhandled exception has occurred. Invalid operation, unable to obtain configuration from, unable to retrieve document from. Okay. No connection could be made because target machine actively refused it. Okay, this is mostly because of my internet issue, but remember this type of exception, no connection could be made because the target machine actively refused it. So this is mostly be shown if you're debugging live from the app service. So if, for example, you open the Visual Studio, connect your project to app service, and you want to debug live. For most of the cases, this error message will be shown. Either the reason will be firewall or some network related issue. So this will be shown most of the time. Okay, so that's fine. Uh, Let me restart it. Mostly it's my internet issue. Or let me clean solution and rebuild it. All right, so let's say hi again. I'm not getting messages. That's probably something wrong here. I believe it will be the same message. I doubt this is due to the one that we have created. It's mostly authentication and not able to communicate with the server. Yeah, it's not able to authenticate. So they are coming here to my bot, but they are not able to authenticate with the bot. All right, let me just uninstall this. And also I'll show you what is the action. Here you can see remove action. And here you can also see from whom it is coming from, my AD object ID. Okay. All right. So there seems to be some issues with my internet, I guess. So another place you find some Azure bot service related error or authentication error is through here, health status. Well, it's good that we found a real exception and not some dummy one. Let's try to see. I mostly see it as a internet connection issue, but let's find it out. Let's say I'm reinstalling the bot and I should be getting the messages now. If it is internal server error, then we might have to see what's the best way to debug that. Yeah, requests are not coming in. That's really bad. Let me see. Let me quickly control X. I doubt this is the issue because I am on the middle of the step that should be doing that. Let me say hi. Ah, that's the issue. But it should not be at this point of time. That is really strange. Really, really strange. Or let me do one thing. Let me put it at final step, someplace here. I was trying to create a mathematical exception, but it ended up with connection problem. So that's fine. So now it's fine. Now it's coming up. So I should be getting that mathematical exception now. So where are you traveling from? Pune. When would you like to travel to today? That's yes. Okay. Here you can see I have you booked to Mumbai to Pune on today. An error occurred in the travel date step async method. So this message is coming from here. I can also print ex.message, and with that I would like to show you this here, the stack trace. So here I have started my bot, and this is the authentication. This is the last. Okay, I have it below. Okay, yeah, here is the place. Okay, so an error occurred, divide by zero exception. This is what we were expecting, attempted to divide by zero. And this is also showing me at what place my error is coming from. So line number 154. And here you can see under main dialog, line number 154, that's the correct place. So this ASP.NET Core Web Server output window tells you the log errors as well as the exception errors. It will not show you the this console or write line. Well, it might show for some of the projects, but not for all. Okay. And how you can debug? This is one way. Another way, put a breakpoint, start debugging. Sometimes what happens, you'll not throw any exception, you will try to handle the exception. So currently I'm throwing it, but most of your projects you might handle the exceptions and you might see what is wrong with my logic, right? So for that purpose, you will have to debug it by adding a breakpoint. Since I've added the breakpoint, started the debugging, let me say hi. Okay, I think I know what is wrong with this because it's remembering the state locally. Yeah, it's remembering the state. So that is the issue with the bot. That is the reason it is not able to communicate with my bot. Yeah, there it is. Now it successfully came from the adapter with error handler. Let's say hi again. There it is. Now it's restarting. Okay, so where are you traveling from? Pune. When would you like to travel today? Let's say yes. And here I've stopped it. Basically, my breakpoint is hit. And you can also see the values of your variables from your auto screen or locals. Both places you can see the values. Autos means it will show you the current context or current method. Locals will show you from all of your class file. Okay, so I'll stay on autos, step into, and here I can see int I equal to 0. I can also hover over to see the values. Here I can see the initialization. If I go one step down, here exception is caught, attempted to divide by 0. Okay, and here I get the error message. We have followed both the ways in debugging locally by seeing the error messages from the output window as well as by putting a breakpoint. The next thing would be to deploy the bot and see the error messages on the Azure portal. Let's start. So I'll right click, publish, Azure, let's say Windows. I'm going to choose a free app service plan just for this demonstration purpose. All right, so let's publish this. So this creates my publishing profile. Close and publish. Also, let me go to the configuration page. Since we are deploying this bot, I'll change this URL to the production one. It's not a production, but I'll change it to Azure App Service URL. Make sure the web deploy is installed and that required access is given. Let's try again. This mostly happens. Your deployment might fail. The reason being either some of the files are already being used, so it might fail deployment if you're deploying it from the Visual Studio. So you just need to republish it. And sometimes if you're redeploying it to an existing app service, you might have to stop the app service and then deploy it. Else it will keep on failing your deployment. See it? So it's done. So it's restarting the app service now. I'll copy this URL, go to Azure Bot Service, replace this piece, apply. All right. Then for proper environment handling, it's best you create multiple Azure bot resources so that for development you only focus on one, like you just change it once and keep it open. For development, for production, you just create another Azure bot service and keep this active so that it doesn't disturb the end users. If end user is interacting with the bot, so that it should not disturb them. So apply. All right, so it is time for us to debug this on the Azure App Service. I'll show you both ways. One way will be using the diagnostic settings. Well, there are multiple ways. I'll show you a couple of them. App services. This is my app service where a bot is deployed. Before checking anything, I'll need to make sure that my bot is running fine. So I'll say hi to the bot. And it should not be pointing to my local now. So the requests are coming from the Azure app service. So let's say Mumbai, Pune, today. So please confirm yes. And I have an error message now. So this is I want to debug, right? So let's start with the first way. I'm on the Azure app service. So first and easy way to debug live is using the log stream. So whenever you open the log stream for the first time, you'll see an error message here. Application logs are switched off. You can turn them on using the app service log settings. So those are part of monitoring, app service logs. Switch on this one, first one, file system, detailed, fail tracing. So I'm using the file system like inbuilt storage of my app service to store the logs. And I'm going to keep them for the last 7 days. So previous to that, it will be deleted and it will be kept my logs for the 7 days, right? Now if I go to log stream again, here I can see all the logs. Remember, this will only show you the logger messages and exception messages. So it will show you these logger messages as well as it will show you exception messages. It will not show the command line, that command write line messages, the print statements. It will not show that. Okay, so our bot is connected live. Let's see. Here I should see a request coming in. Currently it's not showing me. It takes some time to show up the request here. In the meantime, let me send few more messages. Okay, error has occurred. Let's go back here. There it is. I'm not sure why the other requests are not coming in. Or it might take some time. That's fine. So here you can see, because actually these type of requests will be coming every now and then. If any post request is coming, that is from /API/messages. At this point of time, this was successful. Yeah, this is successful request. Yeah, now it is coming. It's coming afterwards actually. 6:34. I believe this is the last error message. So it's also showing me like 2-3 minutes delay. That's fine. This is the one that I was looking for. Here you can see if it is success, it will show 200. If it is not success, then it will show an error message like 500. Okay. And this is how the similar error messages are shown. Unhandled error. And what is the message? Attempted to divide by 0. And it is also showing me line number 154. Okay. So this is fine. This is one way, debugging live. Another way, let's suppose one of your user is facing some issues in accessing the bot and you want to find why. Like it's getting an error message for that particular user. For that purpose, you might want to include certain other information in your logging as well. For example, this is the user and this is the error messages, right? For example, I can just get the user's name and append it here. It's possible, right? Since I have the payload. If you want to know how I am getting that, you can see all my previous videos. Some places I have got the user details, so it's easy to append it and how to find those error messages. So what you need to do, just go to development tools, advanced tools, go. This method will work if let's suppose yesterday your user has got an error messages. So it will not show up in log stream. It will be saved in your log files. So debug console command line. Okay, since this is Windows, so you can interact using a GUI, graphical user interface. If it is Linux, you might want to interact using the command line. Okay, so I'll interact from here. Application. So here you'll see all the log files from last 7 days, and this is one of them. I have opened it, like downloading it, and here I can see the error message. Okay, attempted to divide by 0. This is the second way of seeing the error messages. Now, another way, if you want to debug live using a breakpoint. So how you can do? First, you need to have a copy of your source code. Go to debug and let's see, where is that option? I need to find that option now. Attach to process. Here, change it to Microsoft Azure App Service. Before that, you need to do some settings here. Go to settings, configuration, Unity enable remote debugging. Well, this process was simpler in Visual Studio 2019 when they had that Cloud Explorer as the option, but they removed in Visual Studio 2022. Okay, so I am on the general settings. So here I'll need to enable remote debugging, and you just need to choose the version of your Visual Studio that is 2022. All right. So that is the first thing you need to change. Otherwise, you will get an error message that could not connect to the remote computer, and it will show you the URL of your app service. Well, even now also I might get that error messages. Okay, I'll choose app service. I'll need to log in first. Click on find. And this option is not a best way to debug live. The reason being, it will get disconnected very often during the debugging process. For example, this session might be active only for 5 minutes or so, and it will disconnect. You might need to come here, debug, attach to process again, so redo the whole process. So I'll choose here. Let's suppose you are on higher plan and you enable the deployment slots. This is very much recommended if you have multiple slots like for the UAT and production. Then you might only want to debug certain slot and do not disturb the production branch. Okay, click on OK. Let's see if it is getting the app service information. Most of the time, this process gets failed and you might want to redo things. Some places it might get failed because either your subscription is behind firewall or your computer is behind firewall. So even that way also this process get failed. Even it might fail if nothing is behind firewall, it might fail at that time as well. Okay. You have one process, select that process and attach. Okay. So now I am debugging live. So if at all I send any messages, my breakpoint will be hit. Why this breakpoint is not getting enabled? The reason being my symbols are not loaded. That is one reason. See here, the current version of VS. Okay, this is something else here. Unable to start. Please try repairing. This is this might happen. Okay, one way. Let me close it and reopen it again. Most of the times, it solves issues. Okay, now my breakpoint seems to be active. Perfect. Let me send message. Welcome to Visual Studio. I'll open. Okay. Let's see if I'm getting messages. Not yet. Let me close Ngrok. Okay, something is happening. Symbols are getting loaded. That's good. Yeah, there we have some message, post request. Let me open Teams. Perfect. There we are. Now we are debugging live. Let me quickly reach to that place where my breakpoint is hit. Make sure you do not perform this action on live application. You should make sure you have created a separate slot for this purpose. Else all your users will be stuck. There it is. Uh, it has come here. Okay, my breakpoint should be hit. Actually, it got stuck. It has open Visual Studio and my breakpoint should be hit now. Yeah, it's not responding. Yeah, this issues happens during live debugging a lot. As that's why I don't prefer live debugging unless it is absolutely necessary. I mostly rely on the log stream, the app service logs, and local debugging. And this is stuck. Oh, perfect. Now it's coming. It seems to be very slow. Okay, I go here one step down. Yeah, it's really slow. Okay, we are on the second step now. Yeah, one more thing, this process will be slow, so it's best way you have a high-speed computer with good amount of CPU and RAM, and yep, you should be good with remote debugging. And of course, good internet. Anyway, it seems to work, but it's really slow. So let me summarize what we have learned in this particular video. We have created a sample application that is a core bot template project, and we created a simple logical exception that is divided by zero. We debugged using Ngrok on our local environment by both seeing the ASP.NET Core Server output window, as well as we also saw it on the chat window when we printed the error message. We also saw how to put a breakpoint and debug through that. So these are some of the options we perform on our local development environment. Then we deployed our bot to Azure. We enabled the app service logs, kept as 7 days retention period so that our logs will be stored for 7 days. We saw the error message on the log stream on the Azure portal, and we also saw the logs from the files that are stored on the app service storage, that is a local storage of app service. And finally, we debugged live application directly connected to our app service. And we put a breakpoint here and it seems to be hit. But it's really slow, but it seems to work fine. So these are the different ways you can debug your live application for your Microsoft Teams chatbot. So that is all. Thanks, everyone.